America is very good at living in the myth of America. You can't train away bias. You can't train away bigotry. He knows that he can step on the line where freedom of speech is, and that the Supreme Court will not slap his hand away.
And those people haven't given Black people reparations. Right. That needs to be addressed. We are living in literal serfdom. This is like a new medieval happening. This impacts everybody in the United States.
Everybody in the United States.
They cannot stand us to have anything.
Once they have established this as a precedent, they are going up the chain. It has nothing to do with the American people. It is all about power.
What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner, 2018 Innovation Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show in the world for dads and fathers that's sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. As always, I'd like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. We're broadcasting live June 10th, 2023. Yes, we're going to talk about a little bit of the smoke that's hit North America. I guess it's gone for now, but we're going to get to that. But we are okay in Toronto. We didn't have any orange clouds like they did in New York City, but we are fine. Before I bring up Aisha K and Jill, because LaLa is not with us tonight, but she'll be back with us next week. And also program alert. We won't be on live next Saturday on the 17th. We'll be live June 18th, the Sunday evening. And on the Sunday evening, it will be LaLa and Jill. Aisha won't be able to be with us. So just a program alert ahead of time. Let's do a few other things. So before we bring the main guests, the prime people, please like the Dr. Vibe show on YouTube and hit the notification button. When you do that, you'll get notified. And thanks for everyone that's subscribed. It's appreciated, not taken for granted. Also, please like the Dr. Vibe show on Facebook and LinkedIn. Also, please join the State of Things room in Discord. We have people. We want you people to discuss and hang out with us during the week in between shows. So please email me at my email address, dr.vibe at the dr.vibeshow to join the list. So if you're watching this somewhat live before June 12th, you can catch me this Monday morning on a show I co-host called The Morning Vibe. Dr. Thatcher will be talking about media, tech, and pop culture. And she's going to be launching a week from Monday, or this Monday. I'm recording or broadcasting this live. They're launching their Indie Soup Media on June 19th. And soon we'll have content from this show on that platform. So another place that you'll be able to listen and watch. Aisha, Jill, and LaLa. I'm doing this now before the ladies get on. So I want to get out of the way. Also, this Tuesday, I'm going to be speaking with Dr. Alicia Watkins about Black Fathers and Father's Day. Actually, the actual conversation title will be A Message of Hope for Black Fathers. So catch that Eastern time. And then this Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern on the Dr. Vibe show, Devin McDonald from Carnes O'Neill will be talking about AI and advertising. And most people don't know who he is, but I saw him at a conference about a week ago. And he runs an ad agency called Carnes O'Neill. And they just did one of their clients is Kobo Reader. You may have heard of it. They just did a full ad campaign using ChatGPT. A full campaign using ChatGPT. So even if you have a remote interest in ChatGPT or AI, please check out that conversation. So I didn't want to bore people in regards to, Aisha and Jill, as Jill runs back to her chair now. So she just got a glass of something. So let's bring them onto the stage. Aisha K and Jill D. Jones. What's going on?
Hi. Trying to get my seat situated.
Yes, it was so Jill, like you see Jill darting back to her chair.
So true. I know. I'm still getting situated. Forgive
No
me.
problem. Take your time. How are things going, ladies?
Pretty okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Aisha, were you impacted by any of the smoke?
Yeah, a bit. It was really thick here. Like I am at the top of the state of Connecticut, but the southern part got it bad. It's like we were like orange, but where my mother lives, it was red, the
Ow.
code level. And so I was telling you guys backstage that, you know, the moon was orange at night and the sky was just like, it was like a gray, a dark gray colored, not black like it usually is at night, just gray, because you could see the thick, like just hanging in the air. And then the next day during the day, it's orange outside. I mean, just the air is orange. You look and it's just hanging there and it's thick. You can't see more than a few feet in front of your face. And then, you know, it cleared up.
Okay.
Thankfully, it was hot those days that happened, because that would have been even worse. It was just spring weather. But if it had been last week when it was in the 90s,
Okay, well, no problem. So Jill is going to log out and log back in. She says her internet is sort of slow, so that's no problem. And
actually, Dr. Bob, I don't think it's her internet. I think it might be the app, because it's happening with me too a little bit.
Yeah, I'm seeing something is the connection. So I don't know what's going on. Are you getting a delay from me?
I was, yeah. A little bit.
Okay, so we will look and see. I think I know what it may be. So I'm going to see if we can resolve that in the short term. But what other things going on in the world? Like, was this? Now, maybe I'm getting my dates mixed up. Prince's 65th birthday.
Was that Wednesday?
Yes, on last Wednesday.
It was Wednesday, and they had their little celebration thing in Minneapolis at Paisley Park this past weekend. 65 years old, and it was I think I was watching different people's posts, and some people were posting and they were kind of sad about it, and I thought about it and I'm like, okay, it's 7 years, but I'm not sad about it. It's think about it. All that time that he was alive during my lifetime, we had the music. I could have been born, in 1920s.
Yeah.
And, by the time the music came out, I would have been too old to even pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
But, I don't think it wasn't a sad day for me. That's why my Instagram post was like, go shorty, it's your birthday. Cause, it's just kind of like, I think the depression around the sadness and the depression I was seeing in other people's posts, like, oh my God, he's gone. Well, we know that. We've known that for 7 years. Celebrate the life now.
Okay. Jill, you are back with us. We're talking about Prince's 65th birthday.
Yeah, that's crazy. This was the first year for me that it felt like he was gone and dead and gone. I like to rely a lot on the fans keep him alive. And the estate, usually presenting some things, it just really wasn't the same for me this year. It just felt like, it feels very like it's like he's just gone. I remember once I had a conversation with Patti Smith, the singer. I met her randomly as a fan, because I'm a big fan of hers. But I was in downtown, right in Soho, near where her house was. And we were outside and I ran into her, and she knew a friend of mine, and we met and we had an interesting conversation. And in that moment, she shared how when her husband had passed away, she felt he immediately left. And when her brother had passed, she felt him linger on. for a while. And we were speaking about loved ones passing anyway, just to let you know about what each one felt like, because I had been, dealing with this for a while and I was still very cut up about it. And she comforted me with her words. So I would say that now it feels like Prince is gone, like gone, not here. And we really do. This is the time the most that we really focus on him and his legacy. It's really important to cultivate the good things and everything. And I just hope that, there's some kind of divine intervention that sort of guides that along the way. I think now everybody else is just fulfilling their own personal karma in his life, and he no longer has to be involved in that capacity. So I do feel like he's not here like he once was. Yeah, that's just my take.
Yeah,
I mean, he might still be visiting a ton of other people, but it felt very sad to me. This year felt really sad, gutted, sad. I see people posting things about their performances, and I don't see them talking about him. I don't see those posts. I see buy my merch, buy my this, buy my that. I'm here at Paisley Park. And I feel like you off the backs of the early ones of us. I mean, I get it but this was a dream of his from his youth. He was a young person and he made that manifest. And it really upsets me to see what people do. I'm just amazed, more or less, because this is like they're really focusing on the value of his later days, his projects. And I feel like they're doing that because they're going to sell it. I feel like that if they have to enhance the value of his later time of his catalog, and they're going to sell it because none of them can get along, and they just really just it's just a drama. Wasn't it enough drama that you lost someone you loved and you cared about? And and also I'm a little bit fatigued with certain intelligent Black people in the business who come along and they're at everybody's funeral and in everybody's probate court. All these Black attorneys. Do we only have one or two Black attorneys representing the entire African American community? It's disgusting. Instead of some of these kids growing up, go make your kids be lawyers. Let them be judges. Yeah. This is crazy.
It's like there's only one in the music business.
Yeah, it's like Londell McMillan. No offense, he seemed nice enough to me, but he's at everybody's wake, funeral, service, whatever, and he's in the document somehow. He ends up in there, and it just seems a little bit like, come on. I mean, I remember my grandmother had a friend in town that was named Maxine, and every day we'd see Maxine coming back with her hat on, walking down the street, and grandma would be like, she goes, she's coming. I said, Miss Maxine is coming over. She goes, I'm not here. Now, my grandmother didn't even drive. It was like, where did she go? And say, Miss Maxine, she's not here. Grandma would be like, I don't want to hear about another funeral that she just went to because
she was like Wanda from Good Times.
So I'm just like, so obviously you guys, this got me all up in my feelings talking about this, but I did feel like he was gone this year. And I feel like this was the most important time where we all, there should be people, at least in representation, whether it be Sheila or Morris or somebody who was a part of that. There, like Lisa, when somebody at this point, it can't just be, the people that
at the end
kind of were on his decline, like watching him go downhill. It really is very worrisome to me. Although some people could say I'm really up for saying that, but I think everybody should be together as opposed to this isolation of an era. I don't like that. I think it should be, this is what this person did. Like, what is it when you get a bountiful of fruit? Like it's just splendid. Yeah, a cornucopia. I think it should be everybody together because Paisley Park was almost supposed to be akin to heaven. That's what it was. I mean, am I the only one who figured that out? Mm-mm. Paisley Park was, heaven. It was, the lion and the lamb laying down together. And they're not even trying.
It's It's funny because I think even I see fans do it and like isolate different eras of his music rather than just realizing that each one fed into the growth of the next movement, and he brought along more people. Looking at their celebration that they're having now and seeing pictures, I was really weirded out by some of it. Kind of like, I've never been to Paisley Park. I want to go visit, but I don't want to go in there having these events because it just, for me, it feels very creepy. I saw like the line of people going to get in, and it just felt very weird for me.
It's just not alive. It doesn't, like I kept saying, can you do fresh food stands? Can you do, animal sanctuary? Can you bring life, breathe into it, not suck it dry? But these people have no connection to the ground or earth or the soil or what that meant. And that's what it feels like. Very, very removed from who he was.
And they charge so much.
And maybe some of them would say, well, you didn't know him like I did. Well, I like the way I know him in my head. He was the guy who was connected to his everything on the axis of this earth. And, maybe they went down dark roads with him or whatever, but this was somebody who that land was really important and his friends were really important at one point with him. And then all I see is someone who became really lonely. So can we just fix that and bring life and something that's not in vain? Because otherwise, you're looking at a bunch of pictures of somebody who's no longer there. And that, to me, I did like that D'Angela was there, but she should help coordinate events next time for really, because her symposiums are amazing, and they should start aligning with brands. Like, there's plenty of guitar companies and music companies that would be more than happy to help. It's like, can they hire somebody who understands the branding, collaboration, and this doesn't get planned 6 weeks before an event. It's getting planned now for the next year.
Right.
Annoying to me.
All right.
Sorry.
So no, it's okay. So just catching up on comments.
I'm sure they all mean well. Let me just make this clear. I'm sure they all mean well. They just approach everything differently, but get on the same page that it's got to be done with love.
Okay. So just catching up on some comments. Wigmaniac says she blocked me on IG. I think she's talking about Patti Smith. Blocked her on IG. Justin says Fred Sonic Smith.
Right.
And he says also one big sales pitch these days. Regina says, and welcome to everybody. It's sad for me. Still, I'm a year younger, and my older sister was born the same week as Prince. He always led the way, and that hole is still there for us.
True.
Justin says, to be fair, Tom Petty's estate had same issues. Regina says, exactly, his peers need to be there.
Yeah.
Greetings, Jen Myers. Thank you. And Regina also says, thanks, Jill. Needed to hear your words.
My big mouth gets me in trouble. Somebody will be cussing me out in the next couple of days. But I'm now at the age where, 60 is the age where you're like, I don't really give a what anybody says. What more? What really? Yeah. No.
Well, thank you for warming up the appetizer. So let's get into our conversation topics. And thanks everyone who's here, either live on the replay. We appreciate it. Don't take it for granted. Hold on. Someone else got to say, Wigmaniac goes, haha, love it.
Wish I had a whole bucket of chicken wings for what we about to discuss now, y'all. I know. I don't even eat chicken wings.
I already told you guys about the elote with me, so.
Okay.
I was like,
this will be the calm part for the next hour and a bit, family. That was the definite calm before the storm, because we got a lot to chat about. First things first.
Okay.
45's criminal indictment is unsealed. He shows he faces 37 charges.
Insane.
But can I just tell you guys how this happened on TV? If you don't watch American TV, if you're in Canada, or if you watch American TV, but you weren't watching MSNBC. So they were talking to Mike Pence because they had announced, the day before that he was going to be indicted on 7 counts. So they're talking to Mike Pence, and Mike Pence was like, well, I think that the DOJ, Merrick Garland, they should release and unseal the indictments immediately. Dun, dun, dun. And then it's like, breaking news.
Wow.
It was like, Mike Pence got what you asked for.
Yeah. I mean, it had to be done, right? I once I started seeing, because remember, I kept saying it's never going to happen. And then it just slowly unraveled. And I kept hearing more, valid attorneys, Ari Melber was kind of like coming hard and like going, yeah, this is about to go down. And then a few of the other people, Weiss or whatever, other guy, there's one guy who I like. And then it just happened. I was like, oh my God, I don't know. This is kind of like a 9/11 moment where you're like, where were you when Trump was indicted?
Like, did I really just say that?
I think I texted my cousin Rochelle. I was like, and then I tweeted something like, indicted, baby, whatever. But yeah, it was like, where were you doing? What were you doing? Folding laundry. And oh, it's really yeah. Because we got to say something. It's just been like a lot. You could see it moving into like constantly seeing how much the PGA did with this deal with the Saudis and all that, and that was like swimming in vomit for a little bit, and then when we started seeing that his children, his son-in-law and the daughter got $2 billion, and you're saying, oh, okay, so I'm actually paying in my gasoline that I'm buying is for this PGA, because we all know that Saudi Arabia has to find other ways to make their living soon by hook or crook. So they're buying their way into our humanity. And it's becoming weird. So
I want to take it back, and I go finish up. Sorry about that.
So basically, he got what he deserved. The only thing is that he always seems to be about 10 spaces ahead, because he did get the judge that he appointed again, which Eileen Cannon, which to me, I don't care what you say, it's too much of a coincidence. I mean, like, are they at a party and somebody took off their hat and said, throw in all the judges' names and we're going to pick it out, and everybody.
That's literally how it happened, though. There were only 4. There were only 4 that they could have had.
She should have been excluded just on GP. Like, well, then we only got 3 now. That's really how that went. He was so smart in appointing her. It's almost like he knew, what angles to always cover his a long time ago. Like, he just must sit around all day and go, well, if they come at me from the left or the north or the south or the east, that's what I think he does all the time.
But I think Jack Smith was smarter. Because I read the whole indictment, all 40 some odd pages. What I got from Jack Smith and from what he said was that I think he expected her. I think he kind of wanted her, because now no one can accuse him of playing politics in doing this indictment. That's why he did it in Florida. Because remember, they were doing this in Florida on the sneak tip. Everybody thought they were doing this, and he had two grand juries. We're thinking about the grand jury in DC, and this is going to be the one to decide. And then earlier in the week, it's like, no, there's a Florida grand jury that they met last week, and we're talking. And so I think that we probably shouldn't underestimate Jack Smith. I think our tendency to underestimate him comes across from our disappointment in Bob Mueller, because we had such high expectations for Mueller, and Mueller was a total disappointment. But I think that I think we're in opposite space with with Jack Smith. Like someone was saying, they're like, he just came out of a gulag and did this stuff. So I think that he pays attention to every little detail. And I would not, if he had the forethought of mind to have a second grand jury in Florida and consider that there might be a dispute over jurisdiction, I think he has already had the forethought that she might get this case. So how are we going to handle this? The part for us is that he's been so quiet, so secretive, so locked down. There have been no drips from that group. So we really don't know where he is in his thinking and what he has planned.
But it still has no condition on how she's going to act. I think she's going to be a.
Okay.
What does she have to lose? She could lose her job and get Saudi money. Money already fixes in. It probably is already somewhere in a bank account for her. Work, she wouldn't have to ever work again. Be a judge, who cares?
All right, just to catch up on some things. Regina said
one purpose. Sorry.
No problem. Regina says, I had to tune in for the indictment chat. Paul Katz, haven't heard from you in a bit. Good to have you back. And piggybacking on Aisha Pence comment, after he said, quote, unseal the indictment, unquote, and now he's saying, quote, Merrick Garland needs to explain why he allowed this, unquote.
All Pence has to do is read it. It's not written in legalese. It's not written in mayonnaise. You can read it. It is very like it's like a story, a children's book.
With Maniac says I guess she means 45, threatened Jack Smith's wife today at a rally.
He did, and I'm going to tell you something.
You're kidding me.
She's a filmmaker. They need to gag him like they did Hannibal Lecter.
Well, this is the thing. Regina said after that he needs a gag order.
No, I mean he physically needs to eat like Hannibal.
Remember, Jack Smith is no nonsense and doesn't play. I think Jack Smith was like, look, I hope you say something. Say more. Because remember, all this time, and if you look at page 16 on the indictment, there is a bulleted list of like 7 or 8 different things, recordings of him that they have saying these things about classified documents and how they should be prepared. Jack Smith is listening to everything this man says because he's taking it all as evidence. We've been saying this for a while. Look, let him talk. The more he talks, the more evidence there is.
I'm more nervous because it's a little bit odd that the Unabomber died today. And I think that I would not play with this guy because let's not ever forget that 2 accountants that Trump had during his trial, during his casino days, their plane crashed. They were killed. So don't ever underestimate this horrible creature. Because
the 20 million attorneys we had on this are still alive, but they're not working for him.
Don't know why the Unabomber died. Yes, he was 81, but they have not released that it was natural causes or what. We really don't know. So until then, I say they need total security. And this is no joke. This is a man who's looking to incite violence on Tuesday again. And now he's really backed into a corner. He's jammed. Don't think that he's not going to have his minions working for him at all. Okay. So that was a little bit, my comfort level does not really bode too well with the Unabomber dying on this day.
Paul says, and on Judge Eileen, what I've been reading is the DOJ has recourse if she doesn't recuse.
Hopefully, but she can still make it a very slow, long, delayed process.
And then Regina says Smith has been a professional. What I find interesting, go ahead, Aisha.
No, you wanted to say something. Someone said today that it's actually to her benefit to push the date into like right after the primary, because then she won't have to face the stuff that she said. There's talk in Florida that being overturned and made a fool of by 2 appellate courts really burned her, and she's real about it. So I don't think that she can be trusted, but I think that she will mind her P's and Q's a little bit more, because the the way that she looks in the community of lawyers there is like a fool.
I don't think she cares. I personally think that her job, the reason she was appointed, was to be, Trump has friends that he just calls when he needs them. He's not a friend. You're not appointed because you're appointed to serve him when he needs you to. And I don't think people have really gotten that. He is like a mafia don. This is what they do. They don't benefit you without always being able to come back and be like, you owe me. So for her, yeah, I honestly think that she would make herself look like a fool because she did it the first time. And she knew what her craziest reasons for that FBI search and how she did. Because to be honest with you, they're really supposed to have been investigating her for that. Because it was just really just like a very biased, obtuse thing. And yes, the 11th district got on her butt, but they didn't get on her enough to like get rid of her. All this has proven to me, guys, is that after hearing so many people in courts and dealing with judges and stuff, we can't get rid of them. They can be bought and sold just like anything and anyone. And there's nobody who they have to answer to. Clarence Thomas made sure we know that. They don't have to answer to anybody. They do what they want to do. It's disgusting. So she'll do whatever she wants to do. And then they'll be like, this has never been done before. This is unprecedented. Don't ever think that they won't do the rope-a-dope. I believe Trump calls on his favors. He calls back for them. And if I were her, she may not even like him. I'd be nervous for my own family. And I might have to go in my own self and say, let's push this off to 2025, please. I've got a lot of people on my docket. And I'm going to say one other thing. Everybody on mainstream media, everybody's a attorney these days. Can you stop giving him advice, how to plead his case? That's basically another thing he watches TV all day long. I'm sure he's got a million new ideas and new angles to go for, because he was telling his one attorney that he wanted them to be like Hillary Clinton's attorneys who went in and took the fall for the 30,000 emails. He goes, they were really great. And with an implication, an implied push. That's why the other two dudes were like, we're bailing you, man. They knew what the message was, because Trump does unspokenly. Just like you could say, oh, yeah, we're another country. Yeah, we're dealing with Iran on something. Hey, don't you have to go to the bathroom, Tom? No, I don't have to go to Tom. You have to go to the bathroom. And then Tom goes in and there's documents fallen mysteriously out of a box on the floor. He does that just probably the same way he never puts anything in writing. This dude is slick.
I don't think that he anticipated, though, the espionage charges. I think that he thought they were going to do other charges. And remember, it's 7. There's actually 7 total charges, but 38 counts total. And 31 of those counts fall under the obstruction piece. That was the one thing that Mueller could not get him on. And I think that going into this court with Judge Eileen, I think that, because you just said something that I think is the reason why they will probably get a recusal or get her to move more quickly on this, is because she is being investigated from the last part. And so otherwise, if he didn't have that card to pull, getting a recusal would be left to her. It would be her decision. But the other thing is, like, you're being investigated. And so this right here is proprietary reason enough for you to either recuse yourself. And if she doesn't, there is a judge, the judge who actually told her that her first ruling was that judge. They can then go to that judge, and that judge can force the recusal.
Oh, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I think we can go further. Let me just do this here. Regina says, the locations of the document boxes freaked me out.
Yeah, it's very strange because he moved them around.
In the bathroom.
I also think that people kept saying it was his valet. Oh, and his valet Nauta, and whose name isn't Wilbert. It's something weird. Like, it's not even Walter. It's Waltine.
Yeah.
which is really weird.
Which Trump probably gets his name wrong and just calls him Walter like he does everybody else. He gets his name wrong.
And what was interesting is that guy was a Navy officer. And so he came in and served with Trump in his administration, and then he sucked his way up to executive assistant. So they have a relationship that's been established for well over 6 or 7 years at this point now. So when he lied to the FBI agent saying, I don't know where those boxes originate, I don't know. Meanwhile, he was moving them all over. It was like, it was like a cartoon that you're watching where they're just moving.
I was about to say the same
long, it was like George Costanza talking about the Penske file.
The cartoon music when they're running from place to place. You can hear that in the background.
Like, what am I going to do with all these boxes? Because every day you go home and go, the boxes, I got to move them from the pool house to the distance. Yeah. And then it's crazy that his own security footage is what revealed what he was doing, because the craziest thing is they also did somebody in the New York Times did an article of how many floods and fires Donald Trump has had in the past. We're going way back. And every time he's in a jam, suddenly the pipes burst and the pool house floods, something catches on fire, and all his is wrecked. And it's like, oops, sorry, I guess I'm going to have to file bankruptcy. So that's one thing that he was doing to get out of trouble. The old, just like, the mob guys. In fact, he was more the Teflon Don than actually the Teflon Don. I really do believe
John Gotti.
Yeah, if they dug even deeper, they'd find that
maybe he knows where the body is.
Far worse, He might have been.
He probably knows where Gotti's body is.
No, for the one that was Jimmy Hoffa, he's probably responsible for that. But what was really strange is that there was a flood at this as well at Mar-a-Lago, right? They had a flood. And there were more things and hard drives and documents and things, because you got to remember, he had suggested to one of his attorneys to make them disappear. I don't know, eat them. They were eating.
Well, remember, Trump was eating them and flushing the documents, which explains why they were in the bathroom. For me looking at that, it was like reading that part about the moving of the boxes inside the indictment, and then one of his own attorneys wanting to go look in the boxes to comply. No, I don't want you to look in my big beautiful boxes. It's like he had an obsession.
Oh, but
with these
can I
boxes.
ask you, really, Aisha, what were the quote beautiful mind boxes?
Exactly.
There are boxes. They were like, you can move those, but the beautiful mind boxes go here.
If you ever seen the movie, the man is obsessed with, I forget, but he's obsessed with something. It's about the obsession. They're like, he is so obsessed.
So the boxes did they have beautiful mind written on them? Are they a certain color?
I don't know, but some of those boxes just had.
But the guy, employee number 2 said, yeah, but don't touch the beautiful mind boxes or something. I was like, what the does he have, like, the side of, because the guy who did the beautiful mind was schizophrenic. It was based upon that guy, right? And he thought he was an international spy. So what's the correlation here? Because, we laugh a lot, but a lot of this stuff, some people are like, well, I don't think he sold anything, but he was going to, and he might have. And here's the thing. They've asked a few people like, well, how are they going to try this in a jury? Because all of these things, people don't have clearance to understand the gravity of how serious this information was. But basically, he was selling all our nuke information. That's probably why China knew where to go with that balloon they had floating around recently over in Nebraska. I mean, he probably told them where all of the tunnels were. He's probably told them all. But he was going to sell them. That, I mean, and there people are trying to depict him as the bumbling hoarder. Oh yeah, dad and his hoarding with his classified documents. What do we do? It's like a Saturday Night Live sketch, guys. He's not a hoarder. He's a guy who likes to have shit on you. That's what he does. I believe he did it in his hotels. I believe most of the people who traveled and ever stayed in his hotel. This dude is like, he was just like Putin. I believe he was filming people then. And that's why he has so much loyalty and fealty, because I do believe that he's got a load of stuff on people. And that's why he collects things, shoes,
but I think both can be
whatever.
true at the same time, Jill. I think both can be true at the same time. I think that he knows he has information on people. He likes having the information on people, but this is why he asks people who are smarter than him to do the heavy lifting. Because at the same time that he knows that he has these things, he also is really stupid about when it comes to, he's stupid in the terms that he lets ego take over. So there's the whole thing about, oh, guess what? I have these classified documents. Hey, don't have a look over here, but I got them. They're secret. Why would you say that? You're saying that in front of witnesses. You got cameras around here. There was a reporter at the table when you said this thing. Like, it wouldn't get reported. So I think that he can be both tactical in terms of making sure he has these things, but also dumb with how he keeps them and uses them. For example, he's not really focused on the obstruction of justice part of this, which most of the charges are for. What he's really upset about is that, oh my God, they made me look like I'm a slob. That box was all turned over and things popped out. Because remember when they showed the pictures of the classified documents that they found last year, and it wasn't, and they were like marked top secret, all this stuff. His complaint was that they said they found them on the floor and in the drawers just tossed around. I'm not sloppy like that.
I don't believe that, though. I don't believe that. I think that's how he creates diversion. He's amazingly, Geminis are fantastic at throwing you off the scent of what you think they are that concerned. He doesn't give a shit. Those boxes. And no, that's not it. He tries to look like the humbling, bumbling father who that's all to endear his people. They start saying, stop being so mean to him. Look, he just cares about this. It's not for you and me. Those kind of comments are for his dumb followers. And this is
I get that. I would think that
he and I were like talking, and he goes, if you really look at this and you read what the documents are, what's so astounding is how he doesn't give a about America or this country.
No.
And or the people who serve or do anything, have done anything. And that to me was the most disheartening thing. It was, wow, this is crazy and needs to be put on an island by themselves, a sulfur island, okay? Because the reality is he doesn't care. And so you try to go, wow, I'm just reading the first 2 pages and I'm seeing what he's doing. And how people are stupid enough to believe it. They're stupid. They're really, how could you be so dumb to not even concede one thing? Even if you can't look in that whole document and go, yo, this sold me out, then you'll fall for anything, because he really did. He really did. And he has such devotion to his followers because he is the great seductor. Go read The Art of Seduction by Robert Greene, and you will see who he is. This is him. This is him. He's a master and he knows how to do it. It's scary because...
But he is dumb at one point, because here's the thing. You lay all this groundwork and you do all this. You make sure that, like, even with the thing about in the papers, he doesn't say it. He just does the motion. He tells people not to write things down, but then you get on camera and
That's
out of your own, but hear me out. You get on camera and out of your own mouth, you create evidence. It's like he was too focused on all these other parts that he thought could be evidence and
So
forgot the
is
biggest
Julius
part, because
Caesar.
the most compelling evidence to any jury is to hear the person who's accused on video admitting to the crime.
That's fine, but remember that Julius Caesar went down, and his only recourse was to try to be the in charge of overseeing the investigation of his own stuff. And this is when it just became too much. I guess Brutus was like, listen, we're going to fix this, because this was just going around and around. Every leader and every crime, it's been going for 80 years. It's going to have some leaks in the bucket. And I think what happened is he just started getting too many leaks, and his brain capacity, what really has done him in at this point now is, I'm sure he's just not as swift as he used to be, because he can't keep it up. And all of his little like creature friends, I don't think.
But they all know better. But see, they all know better. They are all in cover your ass mode the whole time they're with him. Because remember too, the bulk of this evidence, and there's like 150 pieces of evidence that Smith didn't even put in the indictment.
Exactly.
So remember, all of this evidence, a lot of it came from his own attorney, who they were able to pierce the privilege. And this is why I say that he's dumb, because
Mark Meadows.
Right. And Mark Meadows. And this is why I say that he is kind of dumb on this, because you know what? You tried to get your attorney to be a criminal along with you, and you opened the door for him to be able to tell it all. It's like you've been you're trying so hard to manage. I think the thing is that he's trying so hard to manage so many different little moving pieces that he himself forgets. And this is the thing about having to write things down and keeping a record of it for yourself. I think he's forgotten a lot of the things that he said to people and that people have on him, because he's so busy getting stuff on other people.
Well, because the whole witch hunt cries ring hollow in the face of this indictment, because he's trying to position it and frame it that his enemies are no, these were his peers who set his and said, oh no, this is just trying to get me in jail. Bye. They sang like birds. They're singing, singing, because Mark Meadows, punk as he is, does not want to go and do that much more time. And I even think Bannon swung back around and bit him in the somewhere in this. I don't know where, if I can't say, but it feels like somebody took a big bite out of his big fat and just said, you know what? You were the tool that we used, and now, old man, you're gonna be done. And I still think they need to uncover the burial spot on the golf course, because there's something weird about that. Something really strange. I'm sorry, really? This woman,
your ex-wife, you bury your ex-wife. But here's here's one more thing. Remember, this isn't the only case on Trump that Jack Smith has. He still has January 6th in his back pocket. And I promise you, after yesterday, he got a call from Mark Meadows, and Mark Meadows agreed to flip. Why? Because Nada is being charged right along with him.
Right.
And so Mark Meadows doesn't want that smoke.
No. All right. As you see, family, we could go on the whole conversation about this, but I have to say, time out, ladies. We got some other things we got to chat about. So we'll continue it on. I think no, I won't bring that up, because that'll just continue the conversation. Now, let's just move on to the next thing. There's something else I wanted to bring up, but I'm going to keep it quiet. All right. Next up, California Governor Gavin Newsom proposes 28th Amendment to the Constitution to combat gun violence. Jill, you wanted to start on this.
Well, Newsom has figured out a way to circumvent and get beyond this by creating the 28th Amendment that will address all of the things that we need to just to move forward. And I think he's brilliant, because it was definitely needed. It doesn't get rid of the other amendments for their little people and their little guns. But what it does is it kind of takes all of our grievances and it puts them in that. And I do believe that we can get this passed. I think we can. We can really lock down on this, because we need it. I think there are, there's some space opening up in these congressional spots. People, it has to be negotiated in such a way. One thing that I don't want to ever be remiss to mention is when Joe Biden negotiated the debt ceiling with McCarthy. One thing that he did, which was so genius, is he left room for McCarthy to still save face with his stupid party. And I think that he knew that when he went in, and it was done so what a G. That's all I can say. Biden is the G on how to get bills passed, because even those two hook face, the toe jam and the hooker,
And the bobblehead.
the escort, toe jam and the escort, they all came correct, pretended they missed the vote on purpose. I mean, really, you gonna pretend? And then, today toe jam got snubbed by Trump when he came into town, because they're all starting to shift in the puzzle pieces as they're learning how this works. Newsom is a very seasoned politician. He comes from that family. So does Biden, of course. But for us to be able to pass that and to bring that into fruition was definitely the head turning action that we needed.
And Newsom, this tells you how great Newsom is, right? Remember, Don Jr. has his sloppy seconds.
Right,
So,
exactly.
So the thing is, this amendment, it raises the age from 18 to 21 to get a gun. It requires mandatory background checks. It requires registration of the common sense gun legislation that people have been asking. But you know what this would also dovetail with? What happened in Alabama, the redrawing of the district lines, which means you're going to get a more representative government in these southern states. It sets precedent for the other 13 states that have those same cases that are being their districting is being challenged in the Supreme Court, and the fact that Kavanaugh went along with this. So look, that if those states get theirs done within the next 6 months, like Alabama has, that 28th Amendment very well can happen. And not only that, we could also, and I have no problem with us putting it on as a ballot measure. We do it in our state governments. Why not just do it in a federal general election? Let the American people vote on that, and then you put it into effect. But the Republicans, and this is the other reason that they are on this rampage with Trump and all supporting, what they saw happen yesterday in Alabama scared the out of them, because they all come from those states.
Yeah.
Where the districts are drawn to favor them, and a lot of them are about to lose their seats. A lot of them are about to lose their seats.
Who's that Andy Biggs or whatever, that little, he's from Arizona. They need to be picking him up actually as we speak, because he's been threatening people.
I'm sorry, he's threatening mob violence.
I'm shocked that a sheriff has not gone to his house and picked his little up and put him in jail, because if it was any of us doing that, talking about what's going to happen and how we're going to take care of all this business,
at your door in a minute.
He needs to be censured, stripped, thrown to the wolves. And on that note, I don't care, Hakeem, somebody get it together and fix it. Fix him, because he should be, if they could strip Zoe in Wisconsin the other day for this needs to go. He needs to go. He is uncontrollable. He's crazy, and he's not even professional or reasonable. He needs to go. These QAnonymous.
If what happened, like you said, what happened in Wisconsin happened with just because she stuck up for transgender rights, and then in Tennessee, just because they were talking about gun violence, then this dude needs to go. And you know what?
They're dangerous, and I don't understand why. Capitol Police do not roll up, take their credentials, and say, you got to do your from home, man.
But you know what?
Or we're going to pick you up and put you in jail for what you said.
Here's the bottom line.
The whole vows that he's taken. He's supposed to, whatever.
There is a level of decorum. Put it this way. On my job, anybody else on their job, there are certain ethical codes that you have to deal with. What I do on my own time is my business. However, when I say the name of my company behind my name or in front of my name, I am held to their code of ethics. And if I violate them, my job should be on the line. His Twitter account says Representative Andy Big. Okay, so he's on the job talking about this stuff.
He is, and you're right, because the reality is, if you investigate him, I bet you'll find a bunch of other ethics. So just go in and investigate him just on the strength of being and
so
what we find.
They're really scared. And I think that this Newsom proposal came out right at the perfect time. Because
I love him. He's scrappy. Newsom knows how to get scrappy and get down. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. And I think that again, I will say it again. I think that the Democrats need to fight for it, fight with your life. This needs to be put on a ballot vote. This should be put on the ballot. Let us vote on this, not these politicians.
Well, we got some, they do their thing.
So a little while back, we discussed about Newsom maybe running for president. Do you see that in the future? Yeah, but do you think
he wasn't? But I think maybe eventually he could.
I think maybe in 2024, I could. You know what? Honestly, I could see a Harris Newsom ticket.
No,
I could. They're both out of California. I could see that.
No,
I don't think so.
I don't. I'm not saying I could see it winning. I'm saying I could see her pulling him, because here's the thing that she doesn't want to. If she's going to try in 2028. But here's the thing that she doesn't want to do. She doesn't want to do what Hillary Clinton did and pick a doldrum like Tim Kaine. That I'm telling you, he was as much a contributor to her downfall as anything else.
I can't see her winning. She can run, but I can't see her winning. I don't say a lot of these things. Through my lens, I can't see that. I can't see. I don't see that. I don't say I can't. I don't see that.
But the truth be told, I didn't see John Kerry winning the nomination either, but he didn't win on his own basis. He won on the basis of having a charismatic VP candidate.
He won what?
The nomination for 2004.
We don't have time to be wasting on people winning a nomination. We need a winner.
No, I know. I know that. But what I'm saying is that if she goes into a primary,
I think she should. I think she personally, no offense, and I know a lot of people could be mad. I think she should do us all a favor and bow out and let him get another
VP.
Yeah.
What'd be interesting?
I think she should be the one. I don't think he should have to say this. I don't think enough people like this.
What about question though? But my question would be why? Because it's not like if you read what she does during the day and what she has been doing in her behind the scenes activity, she's doing a lot. She doesn't merit. Mike Pence is the person that should have been asked, sit down. But the only reason that we're getting what we're getting is our news space is really flooded with not uplifting the things that she does, one, and two, I think all of the noise and that just the hatred gets colored in terms of how the discussion about her happens. When you think about what the vice president's job is not to overshadow the president. Could you imagine if Joe Biden had overshadowed everything that Barack Obama did?
She doesn't have it. She has no charisma.
Would be an interesting ticket for the Democrats next year would be Biden Newsom.
That's what I think. And I'm not going to just go because she's a Black woman. My whole point is that she's grating. She gets on my nerves on certain levels.
But that's another.
No. It's not a bad thing. It's just that the topics, the this, the that. It's just like it's too much agita. And I don't feel like we have to always carry her weight. There are things. I mean, if the press isn't following her, I'm telling you, I'll vote for her if I have to, but I don't think it's a good ticket.
All right. So,
I'll say it again.
If something happens to him, all would break loose, and I don't know what would happen to this country.
I think that people are shortchanging her in a major way. I really do. And I think a lot of, like I said, the echo space. One of the things that I've been one of the reasons why I've been enjoying being off Twitter is that that echo space gets filled with so much white noise that sometimes you do find yourself these little voices that aren't right and you don't agree with, but some of it sticks with you. And when you see things with your own eyes, it's kind of that little voice, you kind of remember those things. And so I just think that put it this way, I know the job of the vice president is not to overshadow the president. Could you imagine if Joe Biden had, as much charisma as he's showing now as president in a vice president role? That's why do you think Barack Obama chose him? Not just because he was a skillful negotiator and could do the background, but he wasn't going to overshadow him. Imagine if he had chosen Hillary Clinton as his running mate. That would not have worked at all. Period.
Okay.
Yeah, but she's no Hillary
last
Clinton.
comment, Jill.
I think that the thing is, Biden had his own personality for years before, and he was always charismatic, and he always knew the ropes, and he always told those corny stories. If people followed his career and him, but with her, I just don't see it. I don't think it's the strongest hand. I think she should actually just bow out. And they should let Newsom be on the ticket.
I got a comment here from Regina, and Aisha, you can respond to it, then we'll move on. Come on, Aisha. Harris did not do well in the primary. She was cremated by Tulsi Gabbard, of all people.
Joe Biden is president now. He ran for president 8 times and did not do well in those primaries either, especially in the primary with Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton. Don't forget that one. He was a long shot then.
All right. Let's move on. White woman arrested in Florida for shooting black neighbor Ajike AJ Owens. Aisha, start us off on this one.
It's like, I don't even know where to start with this because it is so angering. But one of the things that I was watching today was how the press has tried to present this story as if it was a mutually combative relationship. And apparently it wasn't, right? And the sheriff, he gave his reasons for, why they waited so long to arrest her. But basically, this woman's kids were playing in a field. The white woman's like, "Get off my property," whatever. Now, come to find out, this was an apartment complex. The area of land that the kids were playing on did not belong to her. It belonged to the property. And one of the kids left their iPad. She threw something at the kid. The kid's mother says, "Okay, go get the iPad back," knocks on the door, and next thing you know, she's dead because the woman fired through the door, just like that guy in Missouri fired through the door at the other kid and then tried to say, "Oh, I was scared for my life, stand my ground." No, you cannot shoot. You had the door closed and locked. How is she a threat? How is she a threat? You could have behind your door, you could have called the police if you felt threatened. Or you could have just sat there with your gun until somebody tried to breach the door. But none of that happened. And her child was standing there right next to her. And so the sheriff says, well, it took us long because, we need to talk to witnesses, primarily the children, but they'd already been through this. We didn't, so we wanted to wait a day or two. But guess what? Their mother was still dead the next day or two. The grief's not going to go away in a day or two just because they witnessed it. And at that, those kids, there's video of her oldest son, the 12-year-old, going to neighbors' houses, trying to, get for help and very articulately telling them what was going on despite feeling grief. So I don't understand what took him so long. But her mother has been very good at making the rounds on the news, telling people who she was and trying to get people to understand. Now, this is the aftermath of that. I don't understand why white people are so scared of, I'm trying to figure out what this level of paranoia. You mix paranoia with guns and racism, and these are the kinds of results you're going to get. And it's turn off Fox News because all it is at this point is just to scare white people. And they scare white people and then tell them to go buy guns real quick and then to use them. And I mean, you can't even just knock on someone's door. Let me tell you how many times my father had to go up. This little girl we were playing, little girl hit my sister, older, actually she was like a teenager, and she hit my sister. My sister was like 4. My father went up to the house, to her parents' house, and knocked on the door and asked to speak to her father.
You
to
can't
deal
do
with
that
the situation.
anymore.
You can't do that anymore because somebody will shoot you.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think it has to do with television indoctrinating people against Black people. I think that people are mentally diseased in America. They've been raised and they're rotten. They're done. They're done at 55. She's already headed into an area of time where time will have forgotten her. She means nothing to anybody. The white woman I'm talking about. She's a case. These people need to be monitored. And fortunately, artificial intelligence is going to come along and find the weak links of everybody in all of the communities and maybe get rid of these people. Maybe they'll have developed a facility to capture it very quickly when you see the decline, the mental decline that probably starts when you look at what is causing a lot of these behaviors, racism. It is a weakness in this country and it will take it down. So maybe that's where we're headed. This is horrific. Your kid, she threw the kid's skates at them and hit the kid with his skates. The problem here is you can't go over and think you're going to handle it anymore with people. You can't. And this is a hostile situation. These people have guns. And I believe that, you know, African Americans, she should have taken her gun. She had a right to stand her ground too. You hit my kid. So on that, you know, and it's not enough for any of us to think that people are, you know, they get thrown into jail and the inmates take care of it for you. No, that's a pecking order that gets a construct that gets created. I hear people all the time, well, they gonna fix her in jail. Not really. It's a construct. People have money. They take care of themselves, each other in jail. It's another up situation. We as a society need to start taking care of what's happening to our young people, our kids, our neighbors are a mess. That she should have been reported a long time to the apartment building complex. That should have been dealt with. I can't say how this poor mom needed to handle a horrible neighbor. What do you do with that? You know, it's very difficult. And that's a problem. And I'm so sad for her family and her children. But that's America. And you cannot barely give your neighbor a box of cookies, a smile, a nothing. You go in your house and you just leave everybody alone, period.
Yeah. You know,
you don't know who anybody is. You don't know what they do. And this is what America is. Look at the other neighbor who got into it and killed the neighbors because they asked him to not shoot in the front yard. It's like we have some really sick in this country, and they all believe in QAnon and John F. Kennedy Jr. and John and the craziest. But like I said, you know, the mental decline that's rapidly happening from poor diets, years of, you know, soda, cheeseburgers, all that. This is all together. And we have to navigate through sewage in America and pay our taxes for absolute. They don't fix roads. They don't do anything. And then you have these lunatics who want to vote for someone like Donald Trump. It's out of my mind. And or talk about race and color. I mean, we had a situation at a school. Proud Boys drove for hours in order to get in on the fight about the LGBTQ. I'm so sick of it. Sick of it.
And this is the part I don't understand too, is that, you know.
Wait, and the craziest part is the Proud Boy's head is a Cuban.
This is the part I don't understand. I don't understand
who are people of color walking around like they would be Nazi material.
I don't understand why people aren't. Yeah, Florida has the stand your ground law because this happened in Florida. But what I don't understand is that people thinking that they can just say, "Oh, I felt threatened."
Well, that's why they said they took it a few days because some people it was an ongoing fight. that was going on. But the craziest part is with stand your ground. I mean, this is going to have to, I don't know, Florida, many people are leaving Florida, and for good reason. I know maybe Beyonce and Jay-Z need to create a fund so that we can get our people out of these places and move them elsewhere. Maybe we can all donate and help people leave. They're rich. Maybe they should start helping with a fund to help relocate people. It costs a fortune to move your family across the states. But we can't just let our people just get shot and hung and lynched and everything and just shot at, because that woman had an issue with those kids and her neighbor. And that's it. It was only a matter of time. And by the time this case comes and they're trying it, we'll have many more.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Yeah, unfortunately. And you know, the more that they dug into it, one of the things I saw the sheriff say was that it wasn't just a rivalry between these two. All the neighbors that he talked to had issues with her, period. Yeah. And that she was always calling kids racial slurs just out of the blue, walking past them, and she was doing it. So here's my thing. And you had a lot of people. It was a very well racially mixed area. You had a lot of people with mixed children. You had a lot of Black people, a lot of Latino people. If you hate all these people so much, why are you living there? Move. You move.
Well, her whole thing is that probably she felt disenchanted, that's only as good as in her mind that she got in life. This is where she had to be. You see, mentally racist people are they worth us spending this much time even talking about her? Let's hope she rots in jail for the rest of her life. And let's do everything we can to try to help, maybe like help in some way a community that needs to heal, and 4 little kids who don't have a mom anymore. It's horrible. That woman changed their lives and altered it forever. And she doesn't deserve anything nice from any of us.
All right. We'll close it off on that. And April also says that the news reported a skate was thrown at the child. So really sad story, and we'll certainly keep a track on what happens next on it. Then to the other side of things, YouTube demonetizes Candace Owens for hateful anti-trans videos.
So now she can't make money on YouTube, and her statement is that she's going to consider fixing her content or watching what she says from here on out. Basically, they took away her ability to raise money on YouTube because she refuses to acknowledge trans people's preferred pronouns or using their names, misgendering or dead naming is what they call it. They call it when you call them their old name. But that's why. But here's the thing: their policy is blatant. Twitter also has the same policy, and they will do the same. They won't demonetize you because Elon gets a cut of that, but they will block you if it goes far enough up the chain. But again, it's the one thing you want to get Republicans to act right and to act like normal human beings and have normal discourse and just a modicum of decorum. You have to hit them in their pockets, because all this cares about is money. It's the only reason that she did her lawsuit in the first place. The only reason that she worked for the NAACP here until they were done helping her with her case, and then she was like them and went gung-ho to the rest of the side. She married poor farmer Ted the way for what? Because guess what? He got her own show, created the Daily Wire for her, got her own show, and it's she's all about this, and eventually it's going to run out, because remember, they've had their other tokens too. Remember, what's her name? Stacey Dash was a darling on the right for years, and then she got it in her head.
I haven't heard anything from her in years.
Because guess what? When they're done with you, they throw the trash out.
Right.
Wow.
Look, Diamond and Silk. Diamond died. Donald Trump made the thing about himself, and guess
He
what?
didn't even know who Silk was,
her
right?
peep from Silk, right? He didn't even know they were together when they
Isn't
were
that
both.
crazy?
Remember, they both went to the White House to visit him, took pictures with him. He didn't know Silk existed. So guess what? They're done. What is his name? What is that guy? Pernard or Reynard or whatever his name is. That one, he's done. You know, the one with the meme that's on the phone with the glasses. They had him for years.
Perry, was it Perry? I know the guy you're talking about. I can't remember his full name.
Paris Renard.
Perry, yeah, something Renard
like
or Denard, something like
There's
that.
been
Yeah.
so many in Donald Trump's
Paris
life,
Bernard.
even the Sammy Davis Jr. looking one.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and so when they're done with you, they're done with you. And guess what? She's being shown something real quick. Candace, please don't ever forget that you are a Black woman. And yeah, you're doing what you see tons of your other little Republican, MAGA, white right wing crazies do on their YouTube channels, and they're able to do it and they're not getting demonetized. Have a look in the mirror. That's why they challenged you and took away your ability to earn your coins. So, you know.
I don't know. I think that they challenged her. You know, she is. It's so sad to see how she grovels for money and she'll do anything, that her love of money is gross, because I have agreed with one or two things she's actually said along the way in life, as we do with some people. Sometimes the messenger isn't, always, but for the most part, she is. She's just like she'll do anything for a dime. It's like if you drop a pound on the floor, like in England, they would call her a breadhead. That's why she's with that man she's with. It's like, it's pathetic. She's pathetic. And to, lighten her kids' jeans, because clearly she hated herself when she went with Farmer Ted. Also, nobody else wanted her. But I don't know. She was an attractive little girl. I don't know. There was potential to be something better if she'd have wanted to slog it out, but she decided to be this conservative when she was actually quite liberal early on. So I don't really trust people along the way, like stuff like that.
She was liberal up until she got her check.
I feel like people use her and she just decided to use them. And it's just a really sad thing. This is a woman who's got 2 children, and they're children of color, and the world that she seems to think that they're going to fit so well in. As a biracial person, I got news for you, babe. You need to really get it together. This is not the way. Attacking people, you don't ever know. You don't shore up karma like this, because you're manifesting something in your vibe of your life, your spirit, your energy with your kids. And mark my words, it will come back and bite you. It just always does. That's what karma is. It's your manifestation of all the negativity that you ever put out there suddenly comes back one day, and you're confronted and you have to reckon with it. It's your own reckoning that you created. So hate is not something you want to reckon.
Yeah. And let's be clear, the reason that she got into politics and was on this quest for power is for this reason. One of the parents that was named in the lawsuit of the kids who discriminated against her in school was a Democrat who ran for governor after that. Dana Malloy. Malloy was governor here up until I think like 2016 or so. And she could not stop that. She tried very hard to, be like, oh, he's running for governor. Look, puts a lawsuit out there and and she could not control that. So it burned her really bad that she could not wield that kind of power, because apparently she wasn't even into getting into politics. She really was focused on grassroots, ground level community organizing. And she went into politics as a result of that. It's kind of like Donald Trump getting into politics because Barack Obama blasted him at
the fact that she saw a position where she could go in and go, I'm going to be a big fish in a small pond. I mean, it's not, can't fault her for that. I can't say that the Democrats actually were ushering and opening doors for many young millennial women Black women at the time. So that's one reason why we have this onslaught of they all go to the other side, because they're just like fronting. It's like a way to have a career and to make some money. Crazy, isn't it?
Yep. All right.
And
go ahead.
Remember,
Go ahead,
those people
Aisha.
buy books for some. They don't read. Look, they don't read a whole lot of anything, but they will buy a book by someone that talks as crazy as they want to hear.
But Donald Trump made it seem like anybody could do this. See, that's the worst part of this. He took away the spook of it. Like, oh my God, I don't even have to be qualified for anything to run for office. Good God Almighty. So now we have everything running, anything and everything. And that's on one hand, hey, it's great. People want to serve, but it's really like you've got George Santos. You've got these people who just have the cojones to do it, and they have the smooth forked tongues to get the money. And then they're opening themselves like, hey, use me. I'll be the vessel for whatever you want as long as I get paid. We have a system in America where people don't get paid all that well. They don't. Their careers are from here to here to here. This is a certain level of security. You get into politics and you can at least string it along for many years. Why not? $174,000 a year is nothing to sneeze at. Easily, if you can get voted in, who cares, right? That's how they feel. That's when an empty-bellied child or somebody who never had anything, or the ones that had way too much, decide, I think I want more. I want power. This is where we are. America has not fostered the sense of integrity, having a backbone, standing for anything. That went out. And babe, I'm not even convinced it ever had it, to be honest. That Riveter woman, I don't even know if any of that was all marketing,
All right. Let's go on to our last conversation. Our last conversation piece. All right. So I will do this conversation piece right here. And Jill, you brought this up. In the span of 2 weeks, nearly 30 children have vanished in Hollywood. Cleveland. Sorry, Cleveland.
Everybody wants to talk about Hollywood. Let me tell you something. In your little small towns, there's some real darkness. This location, I found out in Cleveland, is an intersection for trafficking, drugs, runaways, all sorts of things. They think a lot of the children were runaways, but you're looking at a cluster within a 2-week span of like what is going on, some kind of recruitment. But that little hub in Cleveland is very big on prostitution and trafficking. It's just known. This is Jim Jordan's territories. He's so busy all up in everybody else's. He needs to focus on serving the people in his own community, because he is ridiculous. He's so up in Donald Trump's behind like a colonoscopy that he has stuff going on in his own state. And he can't even deal. He doesn't even, for all we know, he's driving around picking them up. I don't know.
Well, remember 2 months ago, he went in New York complaining about their crime rate. Meanwhile, there are 30 missing kids in his own backyard.
Yeah, and they're missing. And it's just like, you can't, the sheriff, this article, of course, it's the Sun. But there's no other way you would say, oh, is it being sensationalized? The New York Post carried it as well. It's so interesting that these two conservative newspapers decided to put this out like a smear tactic against who? Biden? Look, these are areas that are manned by people who make close to $200,000 a year, and they're doing nothing for their communities. And this is what's going on. They don't want to deal with it. They sell their state, their constituents out every day for Donald Trump. And yet there are 30 kids who go missing. They're children of all colors. It's not just black, white people. They're all colors. But this is a situation which seems to be bordering a sort of multi-state kind of thing that apparently it's quite common and known in that area that there's trafficking going on.
Yeah. And it's really sad the fact that so little attention is being given to this by anyone, period. But we've got, like you said, Jim Jordan and his ilk over there. Oh, look at that shiny red object at the border. Look at those people, this and this and this. And, oh, we don't want,
they're
this gang to
transporting
come.
children.
Right.
They need to worry about that.
Exactly. You're talking about, oh, well, there's the traffickers are bringing them across. You got traffickers in your own backyard.
Yeah.
Taking your own people who are American citizens born here.
Yeah.
Why aren't you worried about those traffickers? Put a wall up in your own.
They politicize and
Jim
weaponize.
Jordan.
Yeah, they politicize and weaponize everything in order to not do a thing.
Yeah, they're done with the word woke. Weaponize is their
laziest party ever. They do nothing but moan and whinge and whine. I want this and I want that, and you all are f***ed up, and the lefts and the lefts and the lefts. Yeah, really? Take care of your house, clean your house, because it's filthy. It's filthy, dirty. It's like, yo, you're so all about it, but about nothing.
Your house is so dirty. You got boxes stacked up in the shower.
Thank you. They're
like
always selling wolf tickets. They're doing something, and they've never done anything. It's like the debt ceiling thing. They sold wolf tickets and really do nothing. Just ask them, what have you done? What have you done for me lately? That's the party that we need to play it every time they come on the screen, every time somebody drives up. What have you done for me?
Okay.
I
think we are finished with Janet Jackson in the background. So actually the other day someone sent me she's touring. Is she touring?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone sent me some going, okay.
Little cutie.
All
yeah,
right.
Remember she had that tour that she was going to do and she was pregnant. She's got all those people still have tickets, and she promised that she would make good on them.
Well, I'm sure maybe she'll do something for him. I hope so. Girl, it's like, that was a tough pregnancy, I thought, if I have read right, that it was hard. So this is good that she's out and getting it going. It's not, I couldn't do what these women are doing. I'm older than them, but I know it's like your body starts changing, and I don't know.
Okay. Alonzo says, I love the line, and I had to shake my head, like a colonoscopy. Stop it. That's a.
Oh no, he talks about Hollywood into the White House.
Yes, yeah. He also says about, oh Lord, yes, when you demand Hollywood into the White House, don't be surprised when they start to act like Hollywood and sabotage our entire country, like they sabotage our entire industry.
I want to say something about Hollywood, okay? Hollywood gets a bad rap. The reality is Hollywood movies that have been made about people who weren't in Hollywood. I mean, when we talk about Cohen, who was Donald Trump's mentor, the one that they did the film about, he was the big lawyer, Roy Cohn. Did you guys know that when he was dying of AIDS, he asked to see Trump to come to him and help? He wanted Trump's help financially for something. And guess who didn't show up? Trump. Left him in the dust. This was somebody who gave him all of his access, all of his dark, sordid ways of how to communicate. He even shared information
to Richard Nixon too. I remember reading that.
Yes, and he helped him to get info on people that this man could access and use to keep climbing his way up. So here's the thing. Hollywood gets a really bad reputation for the simple fact that it's been doing movies about people who live in politics, regular old crazy housewives and husbands and Wall Streeters. Those weren't all those movies. Go look at them. That's wrong. That is wrong. Oh, but of course it's very American for American people to get reality mixed up with fiction. But the reality is Hollywood just comments on what the vibe of America has been. So if you have a problem with it, you need to look at your crazy neighbor who just shot somebody who went to the door. That's America. That isn't Hollywood. And Donald Trump and everybody who got voted in, Biggs, Representative Biggs, he's not Hollywood, but he's crazy as two sheets in the wind. He's crazy as that little thing that's guiding you, that balloon that tells you where to park. I'm telling you all, stop with the Hollywood. That's a manifestation of just some nothingness, because it ain't going to get you anywhere to deal with the real problem. It ain't Hollywood. It's
All
your
right.
neighbors.
All right. So,
It's your American neighbors.
so Alonzo says, very true factor. Hollywood is one of the most ironic entities of any industry for this reason as well. He also says Hollywood can be exploitive in good and bad ways to the point where
No,
we can't
Americans
differentiate.
can be exploitative in good and bad. Americans will exploit each other for a penny. Look at people exploiting their own children online for likes. We're going to talk about that one day. For a like. Let me create a private venue so you can say hi to my 10-year-old. This shit is
It looks like she's
up.
30.
Yeah, and that's America. You can say Hollywood can be exploitative. That's not it. It's people and American people, because there is no life here. There's no health care. There's no system set up for when you retire. So people are desperate here. They do the most. They will cut your throat. And the reason is because there's no security living here. So did you know, let's just address the fact of how much money you have to pay to leave here. Go look and see how much Tina Turner paid to exit America from her citizenship. We are the only country that makes people pay to give up their citizenship financially. And it's on a sliding scale based upon what you earn. Get the f out of here. There's some crazy, you are a slave. Did you know it or not? So when you sit up and go, oh, I was born in you were born into slavery here.
Well,
Aisha, last comment.
I was saying about America doing the absolute most with the absolute least.
Okay.
Thank
we
you.
Go. Regina, Alonzo, I'll get to Alonzo's another comment. Oh, yes, the child exploitation is too, I'm put it back up. In America, it's too much too, and yet we wonder why all these children are often in danger. Also, Regina says, Roy Cohn started as Joseph McCarthy's chief counsel, so dang corrupt.
My last closing
then he moved on to
comment.
Nixon.
The reason children are in danger in America is because people make money off of them. And people also have a very unhealthy love for them. They put them in their movies. They have it on music. It is ageist. Our ageist society has created this inappropriate consumption with youth, children, and all of it. It's inappropriate. And sex, all of it. And you can, that's just all I want to say. And then we won't even go into where that started. Oh, Pat Robertson died, by the way, y'all.
Yes, he did.
Let's go back to really creeps like that. Real creepy people have been holding this torch of exploitation and corruption and just growth for a really long time. And the exploitation of Jesus Christ and religion is beyond me. Practice by yourself. How about everybody just be quiet with their religion? Do we all need to know about what you do, what your belief is? Be quiet. Stop trying to get money off of people either.
Well, let's end on a good note. Paul has to say, Janet is at the Hollywood Bowl tonight, and her tour has been selling everywhere.
No, I didn't know that.
Music pundits have been talking about how amazing the tour is doing when she hasn't put out a new record. There you go.
Well, she's just lovely. She's a wonderful performer.
Yep.
She doesn't need a new record because she's
she doesn't.
Good.
She has more than a music
She's got an
catalog.
arsenal of hits that people still love, and she can perform.
Absolutely.
Good for her.
Absolutely. But I will say, Janet may not be as big as she is without two men. Who am I going to say?
Jimmy Jam and Terry.
You better believe that. Jam and Lewis.
But wow, talk about destiny. That was destined.
Yeah, Jam and Lewis.
Had they not been fired, we'd not
exactly
that album, right?
Yeah, it was destined. They were meant to, from whatever other life they had, they clearly all planned to meet up again in this one and do it off the hook. Yeah.
And Alonso says, closing, solid show. I'm glad I tuned in despite late. LOL, been enjoying the show. Very refreshing to feel less alone here. Well, subscribe. I hope you subscribe.
Join us on Discord. You got to pump the Discord.
And join us on Discord too. And he goes, talk about our brother Jimmy and Terry. Talk about destiny indeed, Jill. LOL. There we go.
You know, before we go, I often think about like how we all, like, even you can do it with your friends. Like you sit and go, gosh, did we like years, like another planet in a parallel existence, sit up and go, okay, I'm going to be your mom in the next life, and then you're going to do. I mean, I'm making it a little too pedestrian, but sometimes it makes interactions sweeter and more meaningful sometimes, even if it's all in my head a little bit about how special each person can be if you allow them to be in your life.
Love that. Love that. Love it. Fantastic. That is what we'll close on. Jen Meyer says, great conversations always. Thank you, Jen. Thanks for showing up. So let's close down the house as always. How can we get a hold of Jill Jones?
I'm on Discord too, but you didn't put that up. And I don't even know how to share that yet.
We'll get that up.
And there I am, Twitter and Instagram.
Wonderful. And then Aisha K. Staggers. And I've got to take, well, you know what? You said you were off Twitter, but I mean,
today I did respond to something because, you know, Jill put something up there and I had the mayonnaise was thick. Okay, so
all right. I'm going, this lady tell me she's not on Twitter, and I see someone on Twitter today. What's going on?
There's my Twitter. I'm more on Instagram, and then definitely join our Discord because I will talk to you there.
Yes. So thank you so much in regards to that. And yeah, we all love, we're going to really push in the Discord thing, family. So yes, I'll start with that first. So please join our Discord group. What's Discord? It's basically a private chat group that we have that we all comment on. So if you want to join the State of Things with Aisha, Jill, and LaLa Discord group, email me, dr.vibe at the drviveshow.com. Tell me how you heard about the group, please and thank you, because I'm monitoring it, but we have great conversations there. So do not miss that. I believe Cinnamon Canellas are joined in. Yes, so we'd like more people because hey, we do these conversations during the week, like Saturdays, lots of stuff going on during the week. And sometimes, a lot of times we want you to tell us what you want to talk about. So let's make it happen, family. All right. So let's close it off. Please like the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button, like a number of you but we'd like more so you get notified about epic conversations. And also we do YouTube shorts on YouTube where you get clips of some of the conversations. Also, would you like to promote your business or service on the show? Contact me at dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. You know what? I have to put up. Did I put it up? How you can get a hold of me otherwise? I don't think I did. So I'm trying to find it right quick. So you can, you know what? I can't find it. Oh my goodness. Oh, yes, there it is. Got it. Website, the drvibeshow.com. Email, dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, The Dr. Vibe Show. Twitter, at drvibeshow. Instagram, at the drvibeshow. All right. You can also catch, it should come up. There we go. I got the wrong thing up. Bye. There we go. I got too much stuff going on. So here we go. You can watch replays of the State of Things on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, The Dr. Vibe Show, and on my website. So, you know what? There's some more comments that came in, so I'm going to make sure the family gets recognized. Let's go here. Alonzo goes, much love, y'all. Paul goes, that's an actual spiritual construct, Jill, that we all choose our roles that we're going to play. All right. There you go. And Alonzo says, I'll check out the Discord. I'm waiting for y'all. And Cinema Canal is part of the group. She says, Discord is phenomenal with an F, not a PH. So there we go. All right. So Program alert. So we're broadcasting live on June 10th. We usually broadcast on Saturday evenings, which would mean we should be broadcasting on June 17th at 9 p.m. We're not going to be. We're doing a replay on June 17th, but we're being live on June 18th at 9 p.m. June 18th show will have LaLa and Jill and myself. So just making you aware of that. I said at the beginning, I also wanted to say it at the end. So let's close out with this. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions and aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Remember to give yourself grace, and don't just manage your time, manage your energy. God bless. Peace well. Keep the faith. Have a fantastic week. And we want to see you on Discord. Please and thank you. Sooner the better. We want to hear you out. Want to see you. Email me. Be well.